how to use influence, compliance, and NLP. NLP, by the way, is neuro-linguistic programming, and it's really speaking to a person's subconscious mind. So if you imagine our minds like a pyramid or like an iceberg, let's use an iceberg. It's a better analogy. If your mind is an iceberg, what you see sticking out of the water is but like 10, 12, 15%. The majority of that iceberg, the majority of your mind is below the surface of the water, right? And because of that, what's really neat is your subconscious mind, all that stuff below the surface of the water is recording and processing. NLP speaks to the subconscious mind. Neuro-linguistic programming speaks to the subconscious mind, and it gets the conscious mind, the stuff above the surface of the water, to take action, right? So imagine if you could use some influence tricks, some compliance tricks, and some NLP tricks to get a prospect to like you more, to trust you more, to want your services more, to be willing to pay you now and not have to think about it, and to be willing to pay for your highest priced programs. I mean, that really is the perfect client, right? Well, as it turns out, you can manufacture this, and this is what influence experts have been teaching and doing for a long time. Now, here's what's funny. English is a second language for me. English is a second language for me. So for someone like me to understand and to be able to use this stuff means that anyone else can do it as well. So I don't want you to think that influence and compliance NLP is a tough thing. Listen, I was 6 years old when we came to the United States, a foreigner, we were broke, we were poor. Many of you know my story. I didn't speak English, I've got ADD and OCD. They put me on Ritalin and Adderall and all types of drugs to control my behavior. And the reality is that I am able to understand and apply influence, compliance, NLP. And so if I can do it, I want to make sure that you understand that you can do this as well. It's really not rocket science. Now, I should tell you this though, in the wrong hands, this stuff is deadly. So in the hands of cults and pickup artists and con men, this stuff, influence, NLP, is pretty deadly because it is the fastest way to take a stranger and get them to comply with what you want. So when you really think about it, could be pretty evil in the wrong hands, right? And this is really what cults use, by the way, when they indoctrinate and isolate people and turn them into cult members. But of course, we're not going to use it for bad and evil. We're going to use this for good, to sell people something that they want. Fitness programs, health programs, whatever it is. And if you're watching this and you're in the make money space and you want to teach people how to sell real estate or whatever, this works for that as well. But I'm going to speak specifically to fitness professionals, trainers who own gyms and boot camps and who want to use compliance, NLP, and influence to really sell easier, sell their best programs to their clients, and of course, to make the process kind of objection-free. I hate dealing with objections, like I need to think about it, I need to go talk to my spouse, or let me go crunch the numbers, right? Or I don't have the time. All those things happen because the person feels that they don't quite trust you and there is no like and they have no sense of urgency towards the product. Well, what if I can actually teach you how to overcome all that stuff, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today here. So, what you need to know about us humans, right? Let's start there. What do you need to know about us humans? Well, it's pretty simple actually. How we explain things determines how people understand things, right? And so I just read a study recently that the number one problem in all relationships, whether it's a workplace relationship or a marital relationship or spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever relationship, is communication. And so it's interesting to know that how we explain things determines how people understand things. And you need to know that, because if you don't explain things correctly, they are going to understand it as a risk. In other words, if you explain getting fit as something that is painful, that's time consuming and expensive, they're going to understand it as a high risk and low chance of success process, and therefore they're going to give you an objection. So it's really important to explain things right. And you also need to understand that how people perceive things determines their buying behavior. So their perception of you, of your gym or boot camp, of the actual workout experience, of the people that they worked out with, all of those things, all those perceptions determine their buying behavior. So if your breath smells, right? That's the reality. If you're talking to them and your breath smells, that determines their buying behavior. If there's a light bulb out, that determines their buying behavior. If you have 5 battle ropes, but one of them is tattered, so it's not being used, that is a perception that you are broke and you are unwilling to maintain your gym, and therefore it devalues your service. See? And then you go, man, why did I get that objection? Or why are they saying it's so expensive, man? I'm certified. I've got a degree in kinesiology. I've got precision nutrition certified. I've got all this information and knowledge to help them get in great shape, yet they're devaluing me. It's because of their perception, right? So how people perceive things and perceive you really do determine their buying behavior. And finally, how you can influence their understanding, perception, and behavior, right? You need to know that you can influence people's understanding, perception, and behavior and get them to take the actions that they want, which is what I'm going to talk to you about today. Now, of course, if we had like 10 hours to work together like I do with my coaching clients, we can dive deep and we can role play and all that stuff. But in this 20-30 minute live cast, I'm going to give you the overview of influence, compliance, and neuro-linguistic programming so that you get a better understanding of how to get people to take the action that you want with the least amount of resistance and the highest amount of outcome. So let's do this. The 4 things that you must have to get control, compliance, and influence. You ready? I like this. You must speak to the reptilian mind. You're like, whoa, what does that mean, speak to the reptilian mind? Well, really, there's the midbrain, the neocortex, and the reptilian mind. None of that really matters much, but let me just explain it. So the outside of your brain is the neocortex. The middle part, of course, it's the midbrain. And of course, deep inside is the reptilian brain that we have, right? This is like our caveman brain. This is what's attached to our brain stem, right? And the reptilian brain is what is in charge of the fight or flight mechanism. The reptilian brain is what makes the hair on the back of your neck stand when you meet someone and something about them just doesn't sit right with you, right? That is the reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is what's always scanning and looking for a problem. So think about this. When you get a brand new prospect into your gym or your business, the very first thing that they're doing, even though they're answering your questions, hi, how are you? I'm great. Yes, I'm here to lose weight. Yes, I've tried a personal trainer before. Oh, I've gone on diets before. There is this outside conversation that's happening, but there is a secondary conversation taking place, believe it or not, in their head. And the reptilian brain is fully in charge of that. And it's scanning, and it's looking at your body language. It is looking at your posturing. It is looking at the facility. It is looking at the surroundings and saying, are there any red flags that tell me something different than what this person's words are telling me, right? That is the reptilian brain. And you have to understand that the reptilian brain, they can't even control it. You can't control it. The moment you and I meet in person, you're going to go, is he really the guy that he comes off on YouTube or on Facebook Live or whatever, or is he just some guy who's a con artist and who's trying to take my money and sell me stuff? Your brain can't help but do that because it is wired for survival, and that reptilian brain especially is always scanning for a threat or a potential crisis. And so when someone's thinking about giving you money in exchange for a service, even though they're giving you all the right answers verbally, the secondary conversation could very well be that they don't trust you, they don't like you, there's something that they're skeptical about. And if you don't catch on to that, or if you don't control that secondary conversation, then holy smokes, you are going to be putting yourself in a really painful position in your business. So the other thing here is you've got to learn to build desire. Now people ask me, well, what is desire? What does desire consist of? Desire happens when we anticipate a reward and a positive outcome. That's it, that's desire, right? So people will always ask me like, okay, so how do I get people to desire what I want? Well, the first thing is if someone comes into your gym and they say they have 40 pounds to lose, and you're having them do an overhead squat test to see their posterior chain alignment, you're not speaking to their desire. I mean, let's just define desire. There it is, right? Desire happens when people anticipate a reward and a positive outcome. And so what is the positive outcome they're looking for? They just told you they're here to lose 40 pounds, right? They've tried dieting, they are considering lap band, they've worked out before, they've gone on runs in the morning, they've done the treadmill, they've fasted, nothing's worked for them. So they are in this place where they are looking for a positive outcome. And if you're talking about posterior chain and lack of flexibility in their glutes and their hips, while they're talking about the gain of, or the loss in this case, of fat, there's a disconnect in the conversation. Therefore, there is no desire being established. So desire simply means Are they looking forward to the service and the outcome that you are promising to provide? If they are not looking forward to that reward and that positive outcome, then there's a disconnect. And when there's a disconnect in desire, there's a reluctance for them to give you money. You understand that? I hope that makes sense to you guys. This is some high level stuff. And all this stuff, by the way, you're going to work into your email marketing, into your Facebook marketing. You're going to work this into your sales presentation. If you do any kind of group closing, if you do a grocery store tour, you're going to work this into your grocery store tour, right? All of this stuff, because you're going to start dropping hints at a grocery store tour, for example, and you might say something like, hey, guess what? You might have tried other diets before. You might have tried working with another personal trainer before. Heck, you might have even considered getting lap band surgery. But I'm glad that you're here taking this grocery store tour, because my only mission is to help you get your most desired outcome. So if you've got anywhere from 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds or more to lose, that is what I specialize in. Now imagine if you have a group of people around you who have weight to lose, who are taking this grocery store tour. You just spoke to the secondary conversation that was happening in their head, right? They're considering all these other solutions, and you just spoke to the secondary conversation in their head, which is you're considering lap band, you've tried other diets, you've worked with a trainer before, none of that has worked for you. Well, I specialize in fat loss, and I'm going to make it my number one priority as your outcome, right? Immediately, you just create a desire. So you can do this on every level. You can do this on every level. Email marketing, YouTube videos, sales presentation, whether you're face-to-face or in a group, or even a grocery store tour. All right, so just don't forget that. Even when you do live casts like I do, you should speak to your clients or your prospective clients and make sure that you're, one, speaking to that reptilian mind and getting them to know, like, and trust you, right? And number two, building desire. All right, let's move on. The third thing here is to build tension. Why tension? Humans react best when there is tension, something at stake, right? So tension happens when we think we might lose something, right? Or an opportunity, like an opportunity or an experience, in this case, weight loss, right? Weight loss and firming and toning muscles, and of course, better health. So we have to create tension and desire in order to get our most desired outcome. So how do you create tension and desire? Again, let's go back to that grocery store tour. You might be touring people around and you might say, look, I'm really glad you guys are here taking this grocery store tour. My job is to teach you how to read food labels and teach you where to shop in the grocery store and how to come prepared so that you don't buy foods that are going to lead you to obesity. But I want you to know that at the end of this presentation here in the grocery store, I'm going to invite some of you to come and work out at my gym for an entire week absolutely free. And if it's a good fit for you, you're welcome to sign up. Now, I have to be fully honest here and let you know that our gym is 98% packed, and we're looking for 4 more clients, and that's it. We can't take on any more. And by you saying that, positioning that, you just created tension. You told them what you're about to do with them in the grocery store tour. You told them all the benefits they're about to gain. You told them what you specialized in, right? And then you said, at the end of this tour, I'm going to make you an offer, but we can only take on 4 people because we are 98% full. And by doing this, you're creating a sense of tension, and you're creating what's known as a fear of loss. And people don't like losing things. We react to, that's why when there's limited quantities available at your favorite store of something, people are rushing, right? When they say, hey, there's 5 big screen TVs at Best Buy that are going to be sold at 30% off. People are rushing to get one of those 5 TVs, right? That's just how we react. And so we have to be able to take advantage of building tension by having some sense of urgency built into our presentations. Again, you can do that through email, through a grocery store tour, when you're selling them face-to-face, in every single way. All right, and of course, finally, the fourth thing is, if you want to get control, compliance, and influence and get them to take action, you have to ask for the sale. If you don't ask for the sale, it's simply not going to happen. You can't sit there and speak to the reptilian mind, give them an amazing workout and an experience, build a whole bunch of desire and want, and of course build a lot of tension and fear of loss and urgency, but then if you never ask them for the sale, you're not going to get it. They're going to go, okay, well, thanks. They might have even been interested in buying, but sorry, you didn't ask, so I'm not going to give you my money. This actually happened to me about 3 months ago when I went and took a 2-day course with a publicist, right? It was pretty much how to talk to a news crew and how to go on like a daytime TV show and talk to banter back and forth, whatever, talk to them, right? And I knew for a fact, because I was on this woman's website, that she had a process that she sold. So I went to this 2-day thing. I guess it was like a low barrier offer, right? 2-day thing, which cost me like $1,000. And for $1,000, I got to spend 2 days and role played and stuff with a group of other people who were there trying to learn the same stuff I was. She went through the whole process of showing how awesome she is at teaching people how to get publicity, at what to do once you have that publicity to pitch your book or your idea or your service or your brand. I mean, she's amazing at what she does. She even works with a lot of big-time celebrities. But when she got to the end, she goes, okay, folks, well, we're wrapping it up. Does anyone else have any questions? And a few people were like, well, yeah, what if we want to continue? What do we do? And she was so, I'm not sure about it, that I think only one person signed up. Now, I was on the fence about it, but if she said, hey, look, right now you have the opportunity to sign up, and if you do, instead of $4,000 a month, we're going to charge you $3,500 a month for the next 12 months to be your publicist, I would have taken the offer, right? Her deal is $4,000 a month. I would have easily taken $4,000 a month if she just made that offer and said, and I promise to fight for you and to go to bat for you and get you on as many television shows, radio shows, and print publications as possible. But that last piece of the puzzle wasn't there. The close, the asking for the sale wasn't there, and therefore I didn't buy. And till this day, even yesterday, I was still interviewing potential publicists for my upcoming book, Man Up, which will be released in 2018. I'm writing it now. But I was interviewing publicists simply because she did not give me the call to action, even though she did everything else. So it's really important to drive home that call to action. All right, factors that can kill or help a sale. And trust me, there's a lot of these, right? So you never want to act needy, unsure, or be approval seeking. Never, 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 never. Right? The moment you seem needy or indecisive, unsure, or approval seeking, you start giving them the feelings of uncertainty. You start raising red flags the moment you seem approval seeking or needy when you're trying to sell your services. And nobody wants to work with someone who is kind of coming off desperate, right? They want to work with someone who says, look, I got all the clients I need. Whether you sign up or not doesn't much matter to me, other than the fact that I have a mission and purpose to help more people lose weight, so I would love to have you as a client. But when you have that level of confidence and you build a velvet rope around your business, see, now they're going to want to get to the other side of that velvet rope. But if you come off needy and unsure and approval seeking, that is a red flag for the reptilian mind, and that is when they go, you know what, I need to go home and think about it, which is code for you're a red flag and I don't want to do business with you. You also want to make sure that every prospect experiences a workout before the sales consultation. Now, I don't care that if you're selling someone a low barrier offer. If you're selling someone a 14-day, 21-day, a 6-week trial program or challenge, that's cool, man. They don't need to experience a workout. That's a short-term program for a small dollar amount, right? Maybe a few $100s or $1,000. That's nothing. But if you want to sell someone like a $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 training package, right, that they're going to pay off over a year, guess what? You're going to want to have them experience a workout or 2 or 3. So the beautiful thing about these low barrier offers is that you could sell that to them before they ever experience a workout, but you never want to offer them the long-term program without them experience a workout, because it's the equivalent of trying to buy a car and the salesman trying to sell you that car without you actually test driving it. You might have looked up the car online, you might have read the stats, you might have read, seen the ratings on caranddriver.com or whatever, but at the end of the day, unless you get in that car, drive it around, test the acceleration, test the brakes, hear the stereo, feel the air conditioning, you are not going to be in a place to commit financially, right? The same thing applies here. Unless they can actually feel and experience the workouts, they are not likely to buy a long-term multi-$1,000 program from you. So you also want to keep your facility well lit, clean, modern, and smelling nice. Why? Again, we talked about earlier, that reptilian mind is always looking for a red flag to get them to say, no, thank you, not interested, need to think about it. So your job, because even though you might be telling them what they want to hear, right? What they're seeing, maybe when you're there in your gym, is that the place is unlit or there's cables everywhere. I've seen this before where I walk into a guy's gym and beautiful gym, but then right at that front desk check-in area, there's like cable sticking out of the front desk check-in area, and there's a marker board over the counter that's totally crooked, and they probably write their daily stuff on there, I suppose, their workouts or something, but it was full on cricket. Well, those things don't matter to the owner because he's probably thinking, hey, what does it matter? I'm here to train you and give you a great workout. What does a loose cable or a marker board that's kind of canted have anything to do with it? But the reality is how you do anything is how you do everything. And the subconscious mind, the reptilian mind, is always looking for those little indicators that say this person is not worth what they're charging, or they are high risk, or you need to go home and think about it. So don't give them the opportunity to give you resistance. Keep your place well lit, clean, maintained, smelling nice, so that the first impression is the best impression. One thing that also helps you immediately turn a prospect who's maybe on a low barrier offer into a raving fan pretty quickly is by introducing that prospect to fanatical clients, right? So if someone's on a low barrier program and today's day one of their workout, if you have 5 other clients in there working out in a small group program, make sure to do an introduction. Don't just assume that they're gonna meet over time or they're gonna introduce themselves at the end of the workout. That may not happen, and this person might feel like they're an outcast otherwise, right? But if you introduce them to a client, you might say, hey, I want you to meet Drew. Drew is one of my favorite clients here because Drew brings the energy, he works out hard, and he's lost 60 pounds in the last 12 months. Mrs. Jones, I also want you to meet Rob. I also want you to meet Mary. I also want you to meet whoever. By doing that introduction, all of a sudden they feel like they're part of a community, and now those people, your clients who have been around for a long time with you, feel safe and comfortable to sell that person on the value of your services. Some of the best training programs I sold when I was selling personal training in my gyms, I would sell anywhere between $4,000 and $8,000 training packages. And soon as I got someone and I took them on the gym floor to train them for their one free personal training session before I closed them, I would then put them on a piece of cardio equipment next to a client of mine. And I'd go, hey, I want you to meet my client. This is Susan. She's been with me for 6 months now. Susan, how much have you lost? And Susan might say, oh, I've lost 42 pounds in the last 6 months. Great. Well, while you're on this treadmill for the next 15 minutes doing this little program, before you see me here in my office so we can talk about the programs, why don't you and Susan connect? And I'll just make that introduction and I'll let them connect and go from there. And organically, the closing starts happening by itself. It's not that I was some amazing salesperson. It was simply because I knew that if I can get people to feel comfortable with me, know, like, and trust me, love my workouts, and feel as though they're part of a family by meeting some fanatical clients, that the selling process would be a no-brainer. Of course, the follow-up is so important. This can absolutely help the sale. You want to follow up trial workouts, especially low barrier offer workouts, with praise text messages, emails, and Facebook messages, right? Think about it. Client just worked out for their first time. They've never worked out before, or they haven't worked out for a decade. They're probably going to be sore the next few days. As soon as they walk out that door, maybe in the next 10 minutes after that, I'm going to text them and I'm going to say, hey, just want to let you know you really brought the energy. I'm so glad that you're here working out, and I can't wait to have you as a client for the next year or so where we can really make an impact in your life. By the way, you might be a little sore over the next few days. That's totally normal. Can't wait to see you for your next workout. Send, right? You can do that via email, text, Facebook message, anything to give them praise and let them know that they did good, that you appreciate them, and you can't wait to continue to work with them for the long haul. And this builds more commitment, builds more desire, and guess what? It builds appreciation. The more appreciated we feel as humans, the more likely we are to do business with someone who made us feel appreciated. Make sense? And of course, you want to look and act the part. That's right, you want to look and act the part. And some trainers hate when I call them out on this, but listen, man, if you have 20, 30, 40 pounds to lose, and I've seen plenty of trainers, gym owners, who have the weight to lose, you're not living an authentic life. And if you're not living an authentic life, you don't look the part, you don't feel the part, you're not going to be able to fake it. Trust me, that reptilian mind, they're scanning, and all they're thinking is, wow, this person looks like they don't live what they practice. Do I really believe in them? Do I really want to commit my time to them? Do I want to commit money towards their program, right? And that's your reputation. We're one of the very few industries that how we carry ourselves, how we look, how we act, our attitude and energy all determine the outcome of the prospect's purchase or not, right? And so you got to look and feel the part, you got to act the part, you got to be the part, you got to be authentic. And if you can't, and I'm telling you, you're not going to make it in this industry. I'm not saying you should be stage ready, You shouldn't be in a bikini, especially if you're a guy, but hey, I don't judge. If you want to be in a bikini, be my guest. You shouldn't be in a bikini or a Speedo, get ready to get on stage, but you certainly should look fit and active and have a positive attitude. That is our calling card, and that is your reputation.